Welcome back to the RuleBook, everybody. This is your host, Alex Palmer. I know it's been a while, and guess what? I'm back from vacation. This August, I was in Greece, and coming back to the show, I knew that there were some things that I wanted to change. Don't worry, the RuleBook will still be about the rules. It'll still be about pop culture. It'll still be about advice, and of course, New York City, honey. But I wanted to at least inject more authenticity into it, more casualness as well, because I think me sitting over there in that corner, you guys can't see it, but there's a corner in my apartment, my studio apartment, where I would sit and film. So I've switched out the mics for something more portable, and I'm now sitting on my couch. If you don't like this background, I apologize. You know what? I'm running out of spaces in my home. As I just mentioned, I live in a studio, so you know what? It's hard being a creator in New York. But, I'm back from Greece, so let's get into it. This is episode number 38 of the RuleBook. Your girl had to go on YouTube to check because it has been that long. It's really only been 3 weeks, but it just feels like forever. The news cycle hasn't stopped. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher getting caught, publicly shamed for writing those character letters for convicted, you-know-what-he is, Danny Masterson. He was sentenced to 30 years for his crimes, which in America, he's a celebrity. He's a Scientologist, etc., etc. The list goes on of his privileges. And he was actually sentenced. A lot of people on TikTok were talking about how, honey, he must have done something horrific to these poor victims of his, because it's truly shocking when a court finds a man guilty of SA or worse. So you already know he's El Creepo numero uno this year in our books. But Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher, they wrote character letters to the judge defending Danny's character, saying, he's my homie from the way back, and go easy on him, man. Go easy on him. And this came out, and they issued an apology on their TikTok saying their intent was never to hurt victims. It was only to share what they know to be true about their friend Danny. And a lot of people had a lot of strong opinions about this, and I don't blame them, because honestly, Ashton and Mila, they've done a lot for victims of sex trafficking. So it's very strange that they would even entertain this idea of writing this freaking character letter. But a lot of people have, been speculating that perhaps Danny had something on Ashton. And let's be for real, Ashton hasn't always been Saint Ashton, right? He was a creator of the show Punk'd, which was quite cruel and quite mean, and he was pranking celebrities and publicly humiliating them, basically, to get ratings and views and whatever. So, he's like the ultimate. He's almost like, I don't know, a cleaner version of Jackass or Johnny Knoxville, except Johnny went for the regular people, right? But Ashton had a messy divorce from Demi Moore. He was caught cheating on her multiple times. She publicly shames him in her memoir, talking about how he was blurring the lines of infidelity in their relationship, which ultimately led to their divorce. And then there's been a bunch of interviews coming out about the fact that, he met Mila, his now wife, on set when she was 14 and he was 20. So, there's some weird things happening. But the backlash that they've been receiving from their apology is really interesting, because more and more, especially this summer and especially since the pandemic in 2020, we've seen these celebrities be really knocked off their pedestal, and they fall really, really hard. Even just recently, we've looked at Lizzo, dancers coming out about Lizzo and her toxic work environment and her shaming and her harassment of her dancers, allegedly. Jimmy Fallon, an article in the Rolling Stone about Jimmy Fallon's toxic work environment, how he was continuously drunk and how he was making his employees cry on the daily. And they even had rooms that they designated as the cry rooms on set. Honey, what is going on in Hollywood? And then, of course, we have the SAG and the WGA strikes. The WGA strike has been going on for more than 100 days. SAG strike has only recently started in July. And you have Drew Barrymore announcing that she's going to continue with her talk show, or she actually already is, despite the writer's strike. Because in her mind, she's the news. She's not an entertainer. She's the news, and America needs her to report the news. Yeah. Mind you, there's countless SAG-AFTRA actors and WGA writers who aren't going to have health insurance this year, who aren't making a living anymore because they are striking, because they are standing in solidarity with the union of which Drew Barrymore is also a part of. So you guys, I know you're probably wondering, okay, Alex, get to the rule. What's rule number 38? Look, I'm not sure that this episode is going to have a rule, but I will say this. Celebrities have been placed on these shaky pedestals by us. I think a lot of people have become famous at very early ages, and they don't even get the opportunities necessarily to develop their frontal lobes before fame hits them like a fucking lightning bolt. Is that an excuse? No, because honestly, they should have PR people around them and managers and, other people watching their moves for them, because if you have the resources for that, why not? And if you're in the public eye, you should be aware that you are being watched. And maybe that's rule number 38. If you want to be in the public eye, the things you do behind closed doors, expect that they will be made public, because they will. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? And I think obviously there's been a massive shift since the pandemic of how we think about Hollywood, how we think about our celebrities, even how we think about our politicians, right? Because all this crazy crap has gone down. And when we've looked to them for advice, or we've looked to them for hope or faith or safety, they were not able to provide it. So I think that's why social media too has taken this moment and ran with it, because it's a place for us to connect with each other. And of course, information is spreading much more rapidly. Sure, people watch the news and there's that, and that's 24/7 as well. But social media, when it's coming from just a regular person, the source is telling you what you need to know while you're still in your bed. The day just started. I mean, there's no escaping it. There's no escaping the public right now, because we're all reporting, we're all creating, we're all commentating. Is commentating a word? We're all commenting 24/7 all the time. What we think, how we feel. People have been like, oh no, the whole Drew Barrymore thing has really made me rethink my parasocial relationship with her, because it's true. I think we're all much more aware of the imaginary scenarios that we've all created with these celebrities in our head, because more than ever, what the pandemic did was show us that we are not like them. They were going to Venice. They were going to Italy. They were escaping to their third or fourth homes, while all of us were isolated, right? Cleaning our groceries in the sink, wondering, when's things going to go back to normal? And what were politicians doing? They were telling us 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks, 2 more weeks. And then we quickly learned that was bullshit too, and we couldn't trust them either. So I think what we're seeing now is everything is changing. Our hive mind no longer looks to these celebrities, no longer looks to these politicians or these people in positions of power as the authority anymore, because we don't trust authority. And I'm not like saying, oh, anti-vax. I'm like not going down that road. Like I'm not that extreme of, that's not the beliefs that I hold. But I think that has something to do with it as well. I think that movement stems from exactly what I'm talking about right now. And that's because these celebrities have fumbled the bag. These politicians fumbled the bag. They really did. The bag, the ball, whatever you want to say. Because they let us down. Time and time again. And 2020, all it did was shine a spotlight on that. But enough about my thoughts about pop culture. Let me tell you about Greece. It was so nice to actually be somewhere else other than New York City. And I love Manhattan. I love New York. I love this city. So much of my content is about my love of this city. But oh God, it was so nice to have a change of scenery and to be on the beach. I have a little bit of a tan. I don't know if you can see under these lights or not, but this is a tan for me. Okay, so don't judge me. I am Casper the Friendly Ghost over here, and I'm proud. But Greece was interesting. I did feel like an alien over there because I don't speak any Greek. So that part was tough. And honey, there's a grind in Greece that's totally different from the one in New York. Like, obviously New York has the subway, we have the heat, we have a lot of like other oppressive things happening on the streets in New York City, but like, damn, the Greek sun, woo, honey, it is hot. Luckily there's no humidity, so that part's good. And I think Greece just moves slower than New York. So it's definitely a different pace than here. But everywhere is hard. Everywhere is hard right now. I don't know what's going on in the world. I mean, everything is cheaper there too. I'll tell you that much. Everything's cheaper, but people make less money. Although I think there's like, obviously we all know about the fucking wealth gap that's happening here. Please, I don't have to go into that, do I? Episode 38, my most depressing episode ever. No, really, it's not. But all in all, I'm glad to be back. I'm trying to make more content. I was fucking pushing out videos while I was there because I was really inspired, because I finally had a chance to just like sit and just think about content, and just seeing new things and feeling new things obviously is inspiring and making me want to create, versus sitting here in the four walls of my apartment. Not that that's all I do when I'm in New York, but you guys get the gist, right? You see the same shit. You have the same thoughts. You can't know anything new unless you see or do something new, right? There's like a quote in a play, you can't know what you don't know, something like that. And it's true. How can you expect to think differently when you don't do anything differently, or you don't see anything differently, or you don't experience anything different from your normal routine? But coming back to New York, I knew that I needed to make some changes. I think there was an article in the New York Times too about how there's like a clarity, like a post-vacation clarity, that happens. And that's the name of the article. And if I find it, I'll link it below so you guys can check it out as well. But there's like a post-vacation clarity. Damn, I really can't get that right. That happens because you actually have the time and space to sort of see your life from a distance. I don't even think they said that, because you know what, your girl just analyzes so much. But yeah, I think you get the opportunity to see your life from a distance, and having that distance and that separation from your daily routine really is helpful, because you're looking at things from a different perspective, and that's super important. And obviously it's a privilege to take a vacation. Sadly, it shouldn't be, but it is for many, many people. And I haven't been on vacation in over a year, and poor me. No, but like, it is important to change up your scenery and to take inventory and stock of your life and what's happening at home while you're at a very safe distance, far, far away, so you can't do anything too impulsively. But yeah, that post-vacation clarity is sort of like when you decide to change your life at 2 a.m., you know, that TikTok thing, trend. Yes, it's those vibes, but I think it's even more intense than that. But coming back to New York, I was like, okay, I have to film an episode of the podcast. And every week I stress myself out about filming an episode of this podcast. And I think, honestly, it is because it's just me talking. I shoulder I am the show, okay? Which I don't mind being the show. Obviously, I enjoy being the show. And I just don't have the space for guests. And I'm not quite sure what kind of guests I would really want to have on this show. Even though I've had a guest in the past, it's just like, I feel like that's a different podcast. Well, you're probably going to ask me, what did I get from my post-vacation clarity? Other than being reinvigorated to make more content and more videos about Greece, blah, blah, blah. I felt like when I came back to the RuleBook, I wanted to change the setting. I wanted to move to the couch. I wanted to try something different with the microphone. Honestly, I feel like this camera should be pushed back, but child, I don't know. I'm not a professional camera operator over here, but I just wanted to make a few changes just to freshen up the show and continue to, I don't like the word niche down because it's so overused on TikTok, but basically to fine tune what my messaging is of the show. And so I wouldn't say I got too much post-vacation clarity on that because I haven't done it in 3 weeks. But I do want to give myself more space to explore exactly what I'm doing on here. So look, guys, you know I always appreciate your input. If you have any topics you'd like for me to discuss or share my opinion on, or you have any ideas of where you think I should take this show. Maybe I'm missing something because, hindsight's 2020. And also I'm very close to this podcast, closer than you guys. So let me know if I'm missing something. Let me know what you want me to talk about, what you want to see on here. And obviously follow me at Serious Actress across all social media platforms and subscribe to this podcast if you can. Okay, guys, it's been fun. I'll see you next week.